Hello and welcome back to my channel on this wonderful, wet, windy morning. It's Sunday morning, which is a bit unusual for me because I usually vlog on a Saturday, but I didn't have a cameraman yesterday. So I made a couple of decisions about how to change my day, and I'll tell you about that in a moment. We've just been down to Costa to the drive-through because I needed a fix. So my 7-syn fix. But I just wanted to show you the Christmas mugs. Gingerbread men, and I think yours has got a Santa on it, has it?
Yeah. So
black coffee has a Santa, this is coconut latte. 7 sins of absolute luxury. Put it there for now. Yesterday morning Joe wasn't around and I decided to go to the early group, which is something I don't generally do. The early group starts just before 8 o'clock and Joe was able to drop me there before he was away for the day. And I went in and boy oh boy, I had my socks blown off. 104 people went through that group and it was brilliant. But it was very, very, very different to my group. And same consultant, same venue, same layout, same everything, and we're all treated exactly the same way. But it just shows you how the dynamic of a group can change just by volume. It was lively, it was friendly, but yet everybody listened, everybody paid attention, everybody was interested in what other people had to say, and it ran like clockwork. It was fabulous. So I felt like I had my socks blessed off. But let me tell you a funny story. When we got there, the lady I would usually go around with to get weighed in my own group wasn't there, of course, because I was there a couple of hours early. And so we went and joined the queue, and Joe was with me and stood in the queue, and there was a lovely, I would say slightly older lady. I'm not very good at judging people's ages except by voices, but a slightly older lady, but very bubbly lady in front of us, wasn't there, Joe? Mm-hmm. And she turned to talk to us and she said, you usually come to the other groups. She's obviously seen me arriving as they were leaving. And I said, yeah, but I'm here early today. And she's chatting and she sort of turned to Joe, looked up at him and said, it's unusual to see a young man up so early on a Saturday morning, or words to that effect. And Joe just laughed and he was, we were just chatting away. And then she turned to him and very, very nicely she said, it's so, so kind of you to bring your grandma to group. Grandma? I did laugh. She put her right. She said, actually, she's my mum. But yeah, that just shows you, this is one of the prices you pay for being an older mother. I mean, I was nearly 38 when I had Joe. I'm 62 and he's 24. But it was just, it was one of those moments when, if I'd said it, I'd have wished the ground would open up and swallow me. But I think she just laughed it off, didn't she, Joe? But Grandma. I might have to start buying face cream, or better still, I might have to start using the face cream I bought. So yesterday, I made the decision to do something I've never done before, and for a specific reason. Just lately, I think I have been neglecting my, how can I put it? I'll start again and say it this way. I've been neglecting staying to group when I should have been staying. Not thinking I don't need to stay to group, I know all this, I've heard it all before. But why I've been neglecting it is thinking on a Saturday sometimes we really are on a tight schedule. And so I've been making the choice to not stay to group so that I could record my video and put it up. I'm not going to say so I could record my video and put it up for you, because I'm not, my ego's not that big. I'm not doing this for you, I'm doing it for me. I have to do this for me. This is journaling my journey on the Slimming World Road. So I'd say to myself, which is more important to you, Jane, staying to group or getting home, getting all this down on video and getting it out there? Now, I'm not a person for making memories. I'm not a person for social media. I've never ever been blind. Those sort of things don't resonate with me in the way they would with a sighted person. I'm not a person for photographs. In fact, we have very, very few photographs, don't we, Joe? We've got photographs of Joe growing up, but not hundreds, not even dozens, because we're just not that way. We're not a sort of We've got memories, but they're in our heads and our hearts. And we used to have a family tradition where we used to all meet together, my husband's family, and there used to be 20 of us. Excuse me. And this went on for years and years and years, and as all of our children grew up. And then one day, somebody made an observation. We have loads of family photographs as a group. We have loads of family videos as a group. But where's Uncle John? Uncle John's a doctor. He's lovely. Where's Uncle John? Uncle John was never in any of the pictures because Uncle John was the empty seat at the table in the videos. Uncle John was missing from the photographs because he was the one who was always behind the camera. And then I said, never again. It's important that memories are made for whole families and everybody who can be there, because you do get to a time in your life as you get older, and I say this as an older person, where there will be an empty seat at the table because that person's not there anymore. And I just think it's really valuable to make memories in your head and your heart where you're all present. That's what works for me. So I've been focusing, excuse me, I've got a frog this morning. I've been focusing on getting back from group and using the bit of time that I had to record my video and get it up onto YouTube, and actually neglecting staying to group. So I made the decision this weekend, and this might occur again in the future depending on circumstances, that it's more important for me to stay to group. My video can go up another day. And I know people will understand that. And I'm sorry if you know, like, I'm thinking of Josie. Hi Josie. Josie likes to watch my video when she comes back from her group, has sorted out her husband's lunch, and then sits down with me, and I love that idea. And I know one or two other people who watch me regularly on a Saturday. And Laura, thanks for the text last night, that was very thoughtful. But I will always be here, once a week I will always be here. It may not always be on a Saturday, it will usually be on a Saturday. So I went to first group and I loved it. I loved the whole atmosphere. But then I stayed for my group and I loved that too. So I sat through 2 groups yesterday and I really got a lot from it. In the first group, there's a lady sitting behind me who'd lost over 10 stone. Not met her before. Blessing, you know, to hear other people's journeys and know that it doesn't matter if you join group with half a stone to lose or 20 stone to lose. You can motivate other people by what you've done this week and how you felt this week and what you've learned this week. And that lady really motivated me. And then the lady sitting next to me, who I'd never met before, who was a Target member with a 1 stone £12 loss. You know, I learned things from her, that a different way of looking at things. So we've got a lot to learn from each other. Right, so went to group knowing I'd had an on-plan week and stepped on the scales and gained £0.5 pound. Fine. Sorry, that's my mobile. I'm a Target member. I don't like to keep saying that. I'm a Target member. I'm a Target. Do you know there's no difference between being a Target member and being on your weight loss journey? You still have to work the plan. There's no magic wand. You can't just say, I'm a Target member, sod it, forget it. I'm going to do what I like, otherwise you're going to be back up there. We had 3 ladies rejoin group yesterday who all used to be Target members and they aren't anymore. And that's why I just think, for me, extra easy all the way, 15 sins all the way. And after 3 years, you know, I'm still at Target. That's the way it's always going to be for me, because I don't have an option. But I'm not complaining about not having an option, because best way I've ever ate in my life. So got the scales, gained £0.5 pound. That was not a disappointment. Now, what I want to actually speak about, apart from the fact that I learned again yesterday to really value my group and value image therapy, what I want to actually speak about is going out for my lunch last Saturday. Now, when I sat down and the lady next to me, who I didn't know, but we just got chatting, said, how have you done this week? And I said, gained £0.5 pound. And she said, is that a problem? And I said, no, it's fine. And she said, right. And I said, the only thing I did any differently this week was I went out for lunch last Saturday for my friend's birthday. And she said to me, how do you deal with that? She said, I'm a Target member. How do you deal with that? How do you deal with, do you call it an off-plan meal? Do you call it a cheat, a treat, or a flexi-syn meal? And this is what I learned from talking to her yesterday. I thought, good question. So I said, I think I call it And I'm like, it's just a meal, it's no big deal. That is honestly how I felt about it last Saturday. It's just a meal, it's no big deal. Because it's when I put too much importance onto things like that and I give it power, that's when it becomes a problem to me. So when I came home and I was in on my own in the afternoon, I was thinking about it and I thought, what did she say? She said, do you call it a cheat, a treat, or a flexi-syn meal? So I'll take it from the end backwards, a flexi-syn meal. I know Slimming World have a system of flexi-syn in a meal. I know how to use it. What we do is we decide before the meal how many syns we're going to allow ourselves. So Naomi always gives the example of 50. And this is the only way to flexi-syn a meal. You may disagree with me, tell me if you do. Read it in the book. This is how you flexi-syn a meal. You choose a number and you count backwards. So you might go out for a meal and you might say 50 syns, 70 syns, whatever, and then you deduct what you have. Well, yet last Saturday when I went out for lunch, there's not a cat in hell's chance that I could have done that. Not because I overate, because I didn't, I actually left food, but because I wouldn't have had a clue. We went to a Chinese restaurant. I chose to have prawn and sesame toast to start with and mini vegetable spring rolls. Now how do you syn that? I haven't got a clue. It's probably in the book and it can give you an average syn for some of it, but you can't weigh it. You don't know what they've fried it in. Well, it doesn't really matter because oils are all the same, but you don't know how much oil it's absorbed. And how on earth do you syn that? So for my main course, I chose to have sweet and sour chicken. And I asked the guy, the waiter, I said, your sweet and sour chicken, does it come in a sauce? And he said, yes. And I said, right, I don't want it in a sauce. I don't like a lot of sauce. Can I have the chicken? And separate to that, can I have a bowl of sauce to dip it in? And he said, yeah, no problem. Do you want your chicken with or without the tempura batter? And I said, with. Again, how would I have syn that? In the dish he gave me, there were 9 pieces of chicken. I think I ate, excuse me, I think I ate 5 of them. And that was enough. I had a bowl of the sweet and sour sauce, which I literally dip the edge of my food in because I don't do saucy foods. And I had ordered rice. I just ordered rice. I said, whatever rice comes with it. And I don't know whether it was an egg fried rice or a special egg fried rice that came with it. And it came in a bowl, and I probably ate maybe 2/3, maybe 3/4 of it. How do you syn that? And to my mind, it's a lot safer for me to eat a meal out like that, enjoy it, and think it's a meal, it's no big deal, because I didn't overeat it. When it came to the desserts, he said we do different ice creams, we do different sorbets, we can do your banana fritters or pineapple fritters. And I just looked at my friend and I said, please don't let me stop you having a dessert, but I'm actually full. And she said, likewise. So we were going to order coffee and then she said, no, let's go back to mine and have coffee. So we went back to hers. She made some gorgeous fresh coffee and she got a birthday cake, which a 90-year-old friend had made for her. And she said, would you like a piece of birthday cake? And I said, I'd love a piece as long as it's not chocolate. I don't want chocolate cake. And she said, no, it's got lemon icing on it. And I had a piece of birthday cake, not a mega piece, not a quarter of the cake like I would have had at one time, or even half the cake. Just a normal sized, probably at the widest end 1.5 inches, as it goes into the centre of the cake, piece of cake. And that was my meal. And I came home and I got on with my life. I think we went for a walk in the afternoon, didn't we? Came home, got on with my life, and at tea time I was back on plan, had my normal food. That is so much better than what I would have done at this time last year. Because this time last year I did go out for my friend's birthday, I can't remember, I think we went to Perkins. I ate everything. And I never knew at this time last year how to stop when I'd had enough. So I've changed in the last year to a person who actually can leave food. The old me would have thought, oh God, I'm paying for that, and it's not cheap, I'm going to eat it, shove it down, push it in. I don't need to do that anymore. I'm sure I got 9 pieces of this tempura type chicken, and I think I'm 99% certain I ate 5, and it was enough. And I love that feeling. I love that feeling. So that's flexi-synning. You can't really flexi-syn a meal like that. Not accurately. Is it worth stressing about it? No, it's the next one. Treat. Was the meal a treat? It depends how you define treat, doesn't it? Because I like to eat out, and if I wanted to, I'd eat out every day. Is it a treat when you do it, when you're that familiar with it? I guess it's a treat if you're using the word treat to imply, was it a pleasure? Yes, it was a pleasure. I enjoyed it. But it's something I'm used to doing. So it's not like in the old days, you know, when I was a teenager or something. Good Lord, if you went out for a meal, you thought you were royalty, because people didn't eat out in the same way back then. So yes, you could say, if we're defining treat to mean pleasure, it was a treat. Was it a cheat? No, definitely not. And this is where I want to I feel so passionate about, I do not like the word cheat. I was talking to a Slimming World friend on the mobile last night, and I was telling her pretty much what I'm telling you now. The word cheat, if I said to you, and I'm going to call you, let me think of a name that I can't think, let me think. My next door neighbour's called Brenda, so I'm going to call you Brenda. Brenda, you're a cheat. What an unkind, horrible thing to say to somebody. And you know, if somebody said to me, Jane, you're a cheat, I'd be devastated. Because to me the word cheat implies to deceive and be dishonest. I don't like that word. You know, a cheat meal is, what does that mean? Who are you being dishonest with? Other than yourself. We can con ourselves. I conned myself all the way up to 22 stone, quite easily. I'm not going to do that again. I don't like the word cheat. I don't like what it implies, and it certainly doesn't apply to me anymore, because I used to be a cheat. When it came to food, I was the biggest liar on this planet. I don't lie about food anymore. I'm totally honest about what I eat, for the very simple reason it keeps me slim. If I'm not going to be honest about it, I'm going to, you know, say I came on here every week and I said, I've been 100% on plan, I've eaten this, this, this and this, but I've gained 7 pounds. Or I've eaten this, this, this and this, but I've gained 4 pounds. I'd want you to say to me, hang on a minute, that doesn't quite resonate, because I am today what I eat. I can gain weight very easily. So I know that if I'm going out today, I'm going shopping with a friend, a bit of lovely retail therapy, because we both feel like we need some time off. But if I decide to go out today, and while I'm in town, I say to my friend, oh, come on, let's go to Chocolate Utopia and have a big hot chocolate and some chocolates. Oh, come on, let's go to, there's a place called, there's something, Pudding Pantry. Let's go to the Pudding Pantry and have a big this, that or the other. Let's go to so-and-so and have this and this. Let's call in the pub while we're out and have 3 or 4 G&Ts. Next week I'll be standing in front of you and I would have gained big. And then I might stand here and go, and I've had a perfect week on plan. I would be lying. I wouldn't be only deceiving myself, I would be attempting to deceive you. And believe me, I won't do that, because what I eat, I end up wearing. I am what I eat, literally. And I do gain weight very easily. And that's why I choose to be what some people might call quite extreme. I do extra easy, 15 sins max. Not down there in the sins. You know, if I say my sins have been low today, they might have been 12 or 13. They will never be below. No, I just don't go low. I aim to try and eat my 15 sins a day. I think this week I've had 101 of the 105. So if they're there, I'm going to eat them because I'm allowed them. It's part of the synergy. So I won't come on here and talk about having cheat meals. If I talk about having a treat meal, it's because it was a pleasure. And I don't intend to flexi-syn anymore because it's just, it leads me to mind games. If I could say to you today, I'm going out with all my girlfriends tonight and we're going to go on the Raz and I'm going to be on the gin and tonics, and for me that would be a double G&T. With a fever treat on it, that's 9.5 sins. So I'm going to have 4 of them. So I would know that that was 38 sins. I suppose you can flexi-syn that because you can be sure about it. But eating out, no. I find it too stressful and too mind confusing to even attempt to flexi-syn it. And for me, it's not just a case of saying, I'm going to have pizza today, I'll flexi-syn it, but I ain't got a bloody clue how many sins are in it anyway, because then it's irrelevant. And I don't eat pizza anyway, but do you know what I mean? So when the lady said, was it a cheat meal, a treat meal, or a flexi-synned meal? It was just a meal. It was no big deal. But it was lovely. But it was me behaving differently, even to the way I would have behaved the previous year. That's all progress, and it all makes me feel better about myself. Right, one final thing I wanted to mention. Last week I had bought some long life hazelnut milk, which was 400 mils for a healthy extra A. Oh my word, it's beautiful. It's a bit like Ferrero Rocher without the chocolate. The only problem for me was it was too nice. So I had my 400 mils, Joe was out, had my 400 mils, and I kept going back to the fridge and opening the fridge door and thinking, I could sin another 100 mils. I've got enough sins, I could sin another. No, don't do it. Shut the fridge door. That happened 3 times. On the 3rd time that I opened the fridge door thinking, I could sin another. I actually just took it out of the fridge, took the top off and poured it down the sink. I can't be dealing with food that makes me behave like that. It was nice, and if anybody out there loves hazelnuts and could deal with it, I'd recommend you try it. It was nice, but it wasn't worth the thoughts it was bringing up in my mind, and it wasn't worth the kind of behaviour it was invoking in me. So, yeah, nice, but not the sort of thing I can manage. And I could say that of a lot of foods and drinks. There are some lovely things out there, and especially as Joe tells me now, you know, the shops are getting full of all this temptation ready for the Christmas period. At times it's good to be blind. There are things I can deal with, and there are things I need to leave alone. And I'm gradually learning what those things are. And I've had another week of craving-free, sugar-free more or less, apart from that hazelnut milk. I think had a bit of sugar in it, maybe that's what did it to me. But I've had another week of freedom, and that's priceless. So I've got my coffee fix, I've got half an hour to get ready, and then I'm going out shopping with my friend. And using the word treat, well, I've got vouchers for John Lewis from my birthday. I can't believe 2 months and I've still got vouchers in my handbag. So I intend to hit John Lewis big time today. But yeah, have a nice day. I hope the rain stops if it's raining where you are and you're able to get out and about. We're planning a walk later, and then we're planning to carry on doing what we do. Well, I'm going to live this plan again this week because it's my life now, and I know it works if I work it, and I know it won't if I don't. So have a great week all of you, and we'll see you next Saturday hopefully. Bye.